Welcome to the Hollywood Raw Podcast, Raw Rundown. Over there is Dax Holt. My name is Adam Glyn. Today is a Raw Rundown where we give you the top 10 stories of the week brought to you by McDonald's. Have you tried it? No,
I wish.
No, how do we? That'd be great.
We would
be a good sponsor.
we would have good sets. We would be doing a lot better if McDonald's was sponsoring us, but they ain't.
We would do the podcast from McDonald's if we could. I would love that. That'd be a great sponsor. People always ask, how do we get the top 10 stories? How do we decide on what the top 10 stories are? We don't really decide. Ultimately, it comes down to data. It goes to Google search, and then it comes down to our personal opinion. But ultimately, it comes down to the data and Google search. And we say this because Dax and I have worked in multiple newsrooms. There's a screen in the middle of the room that everyone has access to and gets to see what stories are clicked on, what stories are doing well, what stories are not doing well. So people are able to see what's going on with those sort of stories. But Dax, how are you, sir?
I am good. I can't complain. I am very much ready for the weekend. I don't know. It's one of those weeks that I'm like, all right, I'm good with it ending. I think I'm just exhausted. Not that it's been too crazy entertainment-wise, but I'm just ready for the weekend.
Yeah, I'm dressed like Wes from Summer House right now. All day, I'm dressed like I'm wearing like a thrift shirt, like a corduroy hat. Like this is just total West from Summer House look. Speaking of TV, I told you, I don't think you probably watched it yet. I've told people in our private Facebook group off the record, highly suggest the new Seth Rogen show, The Studio on Apple TV. Great show. I love Hollywood. I love the culture. I love the politics. I love the business. I love the mystery behind it. And this show reveals a little bit of, it's what you hope what's really like if you were a studio head. You know, we see what these studio heads, we see who they are, but we don't know what their day-to-day is exactly like. And you hope it goes a little like this. Like when you watch Entourage, you're like, man, who do you want to be? Drama?
But
do you want to be Vinny Chase?
Here's a question. Is this a show that only people who work in the industry will truly appreciate? Or you think anyone will love this show? Because here's the reason I ask is because when we were watching the morning show, I was loving it. Like I was so into it because I know the drama behind the scenes of what it's like working in a newsroom and the politics and all the stories. And I felt like my wife was starting to kind of drift off because she doesn't work in that industry. And I thought, like, do I like this show so much just because I get it and maybe it doesn't relate to her?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, actually, speaking of morning show, we're going to go back to morning show. I don't know. That's a great question. I would love for people to talk about in our private Facebook group off the record. Let me know what you think of the show because I love the way it's shot. It's filmed very different than most TV shows. There's like music behind it, so it's sort of jazz behind it.
I feel like there's like a thumping of your microphone is probably going to drive people bonkers.
Sorry, I apologize. Yeah, I don't know if you want to do time-wise or
no? We're just gonna leave it. People will know we acknowledged it. It's fine.
I don't know if people who aren't in industry will love it, but I love the way it's shot. I love the coloring of it. I love like the view of Hollywood, like that. It makes LA look very pretty. And I'm very curious of what a studio is like. So they show like kind of like what the day to day is like at a studio. Mm-hmm. So yeah, back to a morning show. I won't say the name. You know, I'm tempted to watch the morning show now. Reason is I had a pretty decent, not huge anchor, but a morning show personality reach out to me recently, asking me. I don't know if I think I might told you. I don't know if I told you this. Asking me for like they're going through a tough thing, and apparently they're not getting on. I don't want to say the person's name because. Listen, I'll out some people. Some people I don't because it's too detrimental. It's too serious. But I had a morning show host, one of them, not one of the main people, reach out to me and say, "Hey, I'm sort of struggling a little bit between like not producing enough. I'm not getting enough. The pressure, the stress." And they wanted me to connect them with someone else that they think could be kind of a guidance for them and help them. Now, I know that's very vague and everyone's going to be.
We will all pray for Gail King that she finds someone.
I was actually surprised the person told me this, especially like, I was like, do you know what I do? But I was like, sort of like, I respect that they appreciate the trust in me. Like, hey, they don't think I'm going to be dicking out them. And it was kind of a unique conversation. I was like, whoa. And it made you really like, again, you've talked about the morning show a lot. I didn't understand like the pressures of these hosts to produce, be on top of their game. And then also they have lives and get up early in the morning and families.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of stress and pressure for these people.
It really is. And not only that, like, I think so many people are struggling in the entertainment industry more than you think. Like, you see them on TV and you're like, oh, these people are doing awesome. And in reality, they have a lot of shit going on behind the scenes that, I mean, I like any person. I think any person out there has a lot of crap going on that you just don't know about. Everyone looks good on Instagram. That ain't the case.
No, that is not the case. All right. Dax, I want to get right into the Raw Rundown because there's a lot of stuff going on this week. One of them is, we'll get into one of them because I don't know if you're familiar with this. I'll kind of give you the latest of one of the stories, which is beneficial for us if it goes through.
Okay.
And it sounds very weird. We'll get into it. Dax, let's start the Raw Rundown starting with number 10.
Number 10 is a big one. Kim Kardashian is actually set to testify in a trial. If you remember, she was robbed for over $10 million back in Paris. That was like years and years ago, almost 10 years ago. She was robbed for $10 million. She was gagged. She was tied up in that Paris hotel room. Well, now she is set to go testify at the trial for the men who are accused of being the masterminds behind that whole thing. And so this is a big deal. This really changed a lot about her years ago. It really messed her up. If you remember, her like $4 million ring from Kanye West was stolen from her. The guys had guns, tied her up, put her in the bathtub. She literally thought she was going to die. She's talked about this throughout the years during certain interviews about how she thought that day, for sure, my life is going to end. They are going to shoot me. They are going to kill me. And it will be all over. And then she also had said how it changed the way that she looked at life after the whole thing, and that she didn't look at valuables as in the same regards. Like, she used to be like, oh, look at all the things I have. And then after that, she wasn't as materialistic. You can have that judgment on her, whatever you think. I mean, she still has a lot of stuff in her life, but she said it changed the way she looked at valuables. And so there was 12 people who were charged back in 2021, according to TMZ, and they were face this trial. I am very curious to see if we will see any of this. I don't know how it works in France in regards to cameras inside of a courtroom. I just don't know the laws over there, but it would be really interesting to see her recount that day, what happened, the outfall from it, all of that. I'm curious to see it go down. I can't believe that someone's actually facing a trial over it finally after all this time.
Yeah, that was such a crazy thing when that came out. When that story happened, I feel like in America, we didn't even take that as serious as that should have been. One of the biggest stars in the world being robbed. And it was like a whole scheme.
You know why? It's because, so here's the issue is that Kim Kardashian, she strums up publicity. We know that there's certain storylines on the Kardashians that are, they're scripted in. And so I think when it all went down, everyone's like, is this just a plot line? Is this reality? Like, it took a while for us to really go, oh shit, this is a real story. Like, she actually got robbed. This is not a fake news headline. And so I don't think it got the initial sympathy from people. And then I would say that people don't have a lot of sympathy for Kim Kardashian in general. People love to hate her. And so when you see bad things happen to people, there's a lot of the public that are like, haha, you deserved it, or you shouldn't have the things you have. So I'm glad that she, got money stolen from her. I don't know. I think there's a lot of jealous people around the world, is what it really comes down to. But I'm glad she has a positive outlook on the whole situation at this point.
Even with all this, she's still very proactive in prison reform, which is pretty incredible. I mean, she had her robbery or attempted robbery was.
Oh, it was a robbery. I mean, they stole a ton of money from her.
I mean, it was a robbery. It was like an Ocean's 11 type, go down. I mean, these were a bunch of guys disguised as police officers, broke in, tied her up. $10 million worth of jewelry. Her 20-carat engagement ring was taken. Pretty incredible. Dax, I did look up. In France, there are no cameras allowed in the court.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no cameras. So no
I'm
cameras
sure.
are
I'm
allowed
sure
in
we'll
courtrooms
get
in
to
France.
still hear every detail of what happened. So
I'm sure there'll be reporters if they're allowed to sit in the courtroom, but according to law, there is no cameras in the courtroom. But interesting that she is going to testify. I thought this thing was all settled, but again, when this thing went down, it's very unique. Like you said, people didn't talk about Kim because they thought it was fake. They didn't realize, and her bodyguard, who was her right hand, he never worked with her again after that incident. And I
yeah,
think
I
it was
remember Pascal got
Pascal.
fired for the whole thing. Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
he essentially took the fall. I think Kanye made him take the fall for the whole situation,
he was a
even
nice.
though he was out. He was out watching someone else that night. Like I don't remember.
I think he went out with Kim stayed home, but I think Courtney went out to a club
Yeah, I
or
was
a
gonna say
bar
it was one
or
of her
something like that.
sisters or something, and he went with her, but then he still had to take the fall for the whole thing.
People thought that he sort of had some sort of relationship with these guys, but it's pretty sad. He is still working as security. In fact, I saw him at the Super Bowl working with Kendrick Lamar. Pascal was like a very nice security guard, very
Yeah.
professional, very good, monster of a human. But I remember one day I got Fergie, and it was just him and Fergie, and they were walking down the street, and it was a busy intersection, New York, and he made sure to protect Fergie and me because obviously I'm focused on Fergie. He wanted to make sure we were all safe, and he knew hey, Fergie probably doesn't mind the attention. This guy wasn't being a dick. He was protecting us both as we're crossing the street. And I always remember that. Super nice guy. Dax, the number 9 story.
All right, number 9 is Shailene Woodley and Emily in Paris star Lucas Bravo have now been spotted out, showing some PDA in Paris. Adam, I have no idea why people are so excited about this story, but this story has been blowing up. There's exclusive photos all over People magazine. I didn't realize that these two were such a big deal. I don't know. I mean, I know Shailene Woodley obviously is a big deal, and Emily in Paris is a big show, but I wouldn't think that this would get as much attention and clicks as it really did.
I think people are interested because she was just she spoke about her relationship with Aaron Rodgers, and this guy, this new guy from who's this actor from Emily in Paris, resembles Aaron Rodgers. I actually don't see it too much, but the photos ran everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah,
Like this. I can kind of see it actually.
really.
He
I
has
mean, they're just
he has a similar look. Lucas has a similar look. Like I think it's in the eyes that looks very Aaron Rodgers. So like if I cover his nose, if he was wearing a mask, I think it would look very much like Aaron Rodgers.
I don't understand. I didn't realize Shailene Woodley was that big. She's done a few things. I mean, the
Like
only thing I
famous,
really know
right?
from
Or are
yeah,
you
the only
calling
thing
her
I
fat?
really no, no, famous. She's definitely not heavy. But I even looked up. I was like, oh, why is she so big? Did she date other celebrities? And there was nothing. She's like a very private person. I mean, the only other celebrity she was rumored to have dated Theo James back in the early 2000s. She dated a rugby player, but I guess she was in a very publicized relationship with Aaron Rodgers. And I think Aaron Rodgers is someone who people are just very curious about because he's been a unique football player, a guy who has been what's this guy's deal? He's a good-looking guy. He's a star of a team, but he's an anti-vaxxer. He doesn't talk to his parents, and he's a very unique guy. They actually, Shailene and Aaron Rodgers they dated, I guess in 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and then they got engaged
It
a
was
year after dating.
they got together during the pandemic. I remember it was a big deal because both of them, it was like a top secret thing because it was during the pandemic. But then what really got a lot of attention was once they broke up, her talking about what a toxic situation she had. And she didn't really necessarily say that the relationship was toxic, but all signs pointed towards it because she was like, I was in a super toxic situation during the pandemic, and that the relationship was beautiful, so she never said why it was so bad, but all signs pointed to something was really, really off with their relationship.
See, that's such a vague comment because now we're all, what exactly was weird? What was wrong about it? Obviously, Aaron Rodgers is very anti-vaxxer. She might be a vaxxer. I don't know. And people are giving Aaron Rodgers a lot of heat about not getting the needle, the vaccine. I don't know. But it's a very tough comment to say without more substance behind it. Because, I mean, what does that exactly mean? And if she's doing this interview, she did this interview with Outside Magazine, which, why I even bring that up? I think you got to have some rules. If I was a publicist, you have some rules before the interview, or it's like, we're going to just address this head on and say, this is what happened. This is my perspective. It seems like they are amicable, and if they walked, they wouldn't run away from each other, but that's only publicly. I don't think they're too fond of each other. I mean, they're not going to be friends. It's like they love it, just didn't work out. But this photo ran everywhere.
She did say that it makes her cry every time like people bring up Aaron. Like, I think she truly like loves the guy, but knows that it was not a good relationship to be in. I think a lot of people have that situation in their life where they're like, I love this person. I wish we could be together, but we can't. We oil and water.
Yeah. Dax, number 8.
Leonardo DiCaprio's girlfriend finds it extremely annoying to be called his girlfriend.
So dumb.
Which is the stupidest thing. We talked a little bit about this earlier in the week. But basically, his girlfriend, Vittoria Ceretti, she did this whole sit down with Vogue France, and in there, you know, they get into a bunch of topics, which one of them is Leonardo DiCaprio, which I'm very surprised that she actually talked about him, because I kind of think that's a big no-no in Leo's life. Is, you know, he's like Fight Club, you don't talk about him. And she basically said, you know, I just find it extremely annoying when all people call me as Leonardo DiCaprio's girlfriend. I have a name. My name is Vittoria. But really, everyone knows her as Leonardo DiCaprio's girlfriend. Sorry, girlfriend. That's what it comes down to. He is extremely famous, and that's the reality of it. And, you know, and we don't all know her name. Like, I wouldn't remember her name on a random Tuesday. Someone's going to go, hey, but, you know, Leo's girlfriend, be like, oh yes, her name is Vittoria, not Leo's girlfriend. I mean, come on, get real.
If you gave me multiple choice of which model is Leo's current girlfriend, and give me 4 choice, I wouldn't have gotten her name right.
No, I would say the model under 24 years old. That's what I would say.
Leo makes models, though. He makes their careers. Now this girl is a big name, a star. I think she's made her brand bigger.
A big name that we probably won't remember next week, but a big name.
It depends how long they start dating and what she does from this. Because you got to think of the models he's dated in the past, Dax. He's made them into household names. Figure
who?
Barafelli. He made Barafelli.
Okay. Bar, I will give it. I was going to say, if you say Giselle, I'm going to punch you in the face.
Okay, I'll give you another name.
Barafelli did become a huge name because of him, and then stayed a huge name.
Another name I'm going to say that Leo made her into a star by dating her. Nina Adgal. This is back in 2016.
You don't think she was already a pretty big star?
I think she was doing well
at that point.
I think she was doing well, but he made her into a household name. He made people who weren't familiar with the modeling world, made her familiar with in the modeling world. She became a household name from Leo dating her. Then there's the other names, which here's where I don't know because I don't follow the modeling world too much. Erin Heatherton, Tony Garn, Kelly Rohrbach. I mean, these are other people that he's dated. Did he make them into household names? Then you have recently, when he dated her, I guess 3 years ago, Camilla Marone. Again,
Camilla got a bigger name because of him.
100%.
I don't know.
He makes girls into stars. He makes models into stars, which is interesting about Leo. When do you ever hear him dating an actress? Never. It's always models.
Always a model. It's his thing. I bet
he's very calculated.
At least he stays on brand. Like, you know what he's going to do. He's going to wear a hat super low in public, and he's going to date a model. That's what Leo is, and he's never going to get married. And
he's still going to wear a mask. Yeah, he still wears a mask, which is like, I don't know. It's unique. He's like one of those guys who wears masks not in the grocery store. It's like, come on. Like, you're just hiding so much, we know who you are. It just does not work, Leo.
He stands out more because he tries to hide.
Number 7.
Justin Baldoni has a massive celebrity now on his side, and that would be Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan was talking about it on his podcast recently. Someone brought up the fact that this whole Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds versus Justin Baldoni, and Joe is very pro Baldoni, basically saying that the two of them, Justin, man, this is hard to always remember all everyone's names. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds really fucked up by trying to bring the sweet, nice guy Baldoni down. He said they were trying to take over the movie and the franchise, and the whole thing is crazy. And Baldoni is suing the New York Times, and he has a great case there too. Basically, she told him to come into the dressing room while she was breastfeeding, and part of her complaint said that he came into the dressing room while she was breastfeeding, and they have text exchanges going back and forth. They just thought no one was going to come out with receipts. Everyone is scared of them. Ryan and Blake are A-list, but basically saying they unfortunately messed with the wrong person. That wrong person had all the receipts and was willing to air out all of the dirty laundry. So I think when you get Joe Rogan on your side, you're going to have a lot of people also siding with you. So probably not the best person to piss off.
Yeah, Rogan is very influential, and again, some of his audience probably weren't familiar with all the details, and also his intelligent perspective of what's going on. Listen, at the end of the day, my personal feeling, this is not going to go to court. This is going to settle beforehand. It might even be the last hour before it goes to court. It's really a battle of public opinion. I'm just very curious now when Ryan or Blake meet with studio heads, how those meetings go, because did this actually damage their professional brand with people wanting to work with them?
I have to imagine
has projects in them.
I have to imagine who wants to work with you right now when they know, okay, it's not that you just got in an argument with one of your co-stars. You got into it with the director of the movie and you wanted creative control. No one wants to work with someone if they're just going to come in and want creative control. They want her to come in and be an actress. And she said it before, she doesn't want to just be an actress. She wants to have some say-so behind the scene in production. And so I got to imagine that is what's going to hurt her more than anything else.
So, yes. Now we just talked about how this affects Blake and Ryan professionally. Does this affect Justin professionally? Do you think people are going to want to work with him again after dealing with all this? You do. Why do you say that?
Because I don't think this hurts him. I think that if anything, it's helped him. It's made him a really big household name. So at the end of the day, everyone knows Justin Baldoni's name. That's a good thing for him. And I don't feel like he comes out as that tarnished reputation like she does. So now he's a big name. Use it to your advantage.
Dax's hot take. Number 6.
Jax Taylor revealing how much cocaine he was actually taking over the last few years. He said, quote unquote, it was enough to kill a small horse. So he's opening up about the depths of his cocaine addiction and just the struggles that he's had with substance abuse over the years. And, he honestly not holding back at all. He did, obviously admit, like what I just said, enough cocaine to kill a small horse. But this is the year before finally deciding to turn his life around. He said that he had kind of hit rock bottom when it came to his estranged wife, Brittany Cartwright, ending their marriage back in February of 2024. And that was really the ultimate wake-up call and forced him to face his addiction. And he said, I was in my house by myself for months. And this is what he told in an interview with Us Weekly. He said, I wasn't eating, I wasn't drinking, he said, I was drinking and doing enough cocaine to kill a small horse. And I went on a full-on tear. He then said, I was so depressed and I felt like I had lost everything when she walked away from our marriage of nearly 5 years. He said, the devil on my shoulder was louder than that angel on my shoulder. I like that he's being honest. I mean, I think Brittany, she's kind of talked about how she's happy that she can finally talk about the true source of the pain in their life, because she wasn't wanting to out his true drug use. But she said, look, I want him to get better. I have my own doubts about him finally, kicking his addiction, and that has caused so much drama and strife in their life. But happy that he is acknowledging it and hopeful that he can fully come clean.
I hope these people just saved their money. I hope they didn't spend everything they got.
Oh no, he did say I could have probably bought a house with the amount of money that I've spent on drugs. He goes, it's actually kind of sickening. He goes, my parents didn't raise this type of person, but to think that whatever that's $1 million or that's a lot of money to spend on drugs throughout your 20s.
Again, but it's one thing in your 20s, but when you're on the show, you're probably getting it for free. I have to imagine you're doing it. You're at party. I don't know, but I don't know how LA works, but I'm just so surprised, like how these people, a lot of these reality stars, I hope they put at least 30% of their money just away, invest it somehow, because him talking about this stuff, it does affect some brand deals. Unless he's going to go
Mhm.
start open treatment centers like The Situation, then there's some sort of, you can monetize it a little bit more. But if you're a brand, let's say you're bubbly or some other like sparkling soda type drink, do you want to represent or put ad dollars behind a guy like Jax at this moment? No. So it sucks that he went through it. I'm glad he's in a better spot. I've met Jax a few times. Have you ever met Jax?
Have I ran into Jax? I don't think I have. No, I don't. No, I think I've seen him places, but we didn't chat. You know what I'm saying? We didn't like have
I
a conversation. But I
I
I remember running into him somewhere in LA, and I don't remember where it was at.
The first time I met him, I was expecting him to be a jerk. I was like, oh, this guy's going to be an ass. And he was actually so kind, so nice, stood aside, talked to me. Super cool guy. And I do appreciate that. I went in like expecting to get like shunned by him or something like that. And he was the exact opposite. Very nice guy. So I do wish him the best. Actually, I'll say this, Dax. So I've met Jax, very nice guy. The other person I met from the show who's the exact opposite of that was
Mhm.
Stassi. I remember Stassi being so nasty to me multiple
Yeah.
times. And I was so
I
like,
I
really?
think a
Like,
lot of them, I think it's when you get famous that quickly, you kind of see people's true colors come out, right? Like you give them money, you give them a sense of power, you give them a sense of fame. You can see quickly who's a nice person truly deep down.
yeah. All right, Dax, number 5.
Ben Affleck revealing the true reason why the FBI visited his house. This became a pretty big story after the fires in the Palisades. There was a bunch of photos of FBI agents at Ben Affleck's house. And so come to find out, he had to even figure out why the FBI was at his house. So he did an interview with GQ magazine and talked about how he saw the story come out. He wasn't home at the time, but he sees the photos. He sees the story saying that sources say that the FBI visited his house. And so he's like, the hell? Like, what are they talking about? So he himself actually called up the FBI and it's like, hey, this is Ben. You guys were at my house, yeah? Did you need me? Like, what's the deal? And they said that actually there was someone who I guess works for the government nearby, like a neighbor, and they had some stuff stolen from them. And so the FBI was actually going to neighbors' homes and just asking questions, but they went to multiple neighbors' homes. The difference is the other neighbors didn't have paparazzi sitting outside taking photos. And obviously, that's a big photo when you have men wearing FBI vests walking up to Ben Affleck's house. That obviously becomes a big story. But he said they didn't need anything necessarily from me. I wasn't under investigation. They were simply at my house questioning. There was a story that came out saying that there was a drone. That's why the FBI was investigating. And he said, actually found out that wasn't true either. So he was able to put all the stories to rest himself by simply picking up the phone and calling the FBI.
Kind of unique situation. It's a good story. And
Yeah.
just crazy, like that's how your life is. Like, again, the FBI was just doing their jobs, and just so happened to be there's paparazzi outside, it becomes a bigger news story. And it's like, oh man, I gotta deal with this. Also, how do you just get in touch with the FBI? I think that's got to be one. Like, it's one. I didn't know
I'm
you could just call
assuming
the FBI.
I assume there's a number on the website. Get in touch with the FBI. And he did say the initial person that picked up the phone wasn't able to answer his question. He had to be transferred to someone who was actually a part of the case that was out there that day. But he was able to get the answer.
I like Ben Affleck. He just seems like a guy who just has fallen. I don't want to say he's had bad luck,
Mhm.
but he's just always falls into shit somehow, and it's just like,
That's the thing. He always seems so like grumpy to me, but it's probably because he falls into so much shit all the time.
I think, I think, I think he's been very lucky. He's been very fortunate in his career. I think he's been very fortunate. I think he would even say he's been very lucky to have the career he's had. With that said, I think he makes a lot of tough decisions.
Well, I will say that I was actually bummed that him and Jen Lopez didn't work out, because in my mind I had this like kind of like little fantasy of like, oh, that's so cool. Like they were together so many years ago and they still loved each other and they got back together. I thought that it would actually last, but it didn't.
So in the story though, he did talk about that relationship, right?
He talked about he had opened up and just said, look, there wasn't like a moment, there wasn't a thing that caused the divorce. He's like, you just kind of look and there's issues and people grow apart, but there wasn't like a moment that they decided like, F it, we're done, we're out of this. He goes, you just reflect on the people and the situation, and it just wasn't the best situation for them.
See, I'd be very curious. The question I would ask is how much the media have to do with that divorce? How much gas did they put on the fire of that relationship? Did it really affect the relationship?
I think
we were talking about that for months. Are they going to get divorced? Yeah. Are they not? What is going on there? And I was like, we're making these people get divorced, whether we like it or not. It's just very.
Well, I think there's a level of attention that Jennifer Lopez brings that he didn't like and wasn't good for him. They potentially could still be married right now if she wasn't as big of a star that it garners that like international attention at all times, every day, everywhere. She is on another level with fame.
So it's funny. I saw this video, and I'm sure other people saw it. Ben Affleck's son, again, is a big sneakerhead. So he went to some sneaker convention with his son. He's a good father and wanted to kind of check out what the world is like. And Ben made a movie about sneakers, about the Michael Jordan sneakers. And it was interesting to see like Ben being there. And like it was uncomfortable for him, but like he wanted to be there to support his son. And there was like a camera following them, which I'm sure his son is a fan of this YouTuber who kind of does live streams about sneaker culture. So Ben was like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll be a part of it just to kind of include you, make a special day for his son. But it's like, he's just always like, I feel like Ben Affleck's the type of guy who sighs about 40 times a day. Like,
I feel like Ben Affleck is one of those stars that I wouldn't even go ask for a photo because I feel like he would hate it so much. Like, that you're going to go up to him and be like, Ben, huge fan. Can I get a photo? And he's going to be like, yeah, no, I'm good. And I don't think I want that kind of rejection in my life. I don't think I'd ask him. I'd just look and move on.
So it's funny you say that. Actually, last night, I got a photo with. I only did it because I've never met. It was actually the first time I've ever met him. I got a photo with Jake Paul last night.
Oh, nice.
Surprisingly, very nice guy. Very nice guy. And I just did it because it's more historic. And he's one of those guys where, am I the biggest Jake Paul fan? No, but I do respect him. However, like we've spoken about in the past, Dax, the people who I'm fans of, in 20 years, if I were to show people younger than me, like, hey, look who I got a photo with. I got a photo with
Robbie Williams.
Robbie Williams. They'd be like, who are you? How? Like, I would age myself. So I need to get photos with younger talent right now to just show that I'm kind of hip or cool.
Listen, you do, because I've realized that everyone who I think is famous, my kids have no idea who they are. Legit. Yeah. And you're like, oh yeah, I got a picture, and I've got some pictures with big people. And every time it's like literally Kim Kardashian. I don't know who that is. You know what I'm saying? And okay, hey, I got a picture with Justin Bieber. Okay. I'm like, you don't know who Justin Bieber is? Like, that's when you realize how old you're getting, when your kids have no idea. And it would need to be like Olivia Rodrigo at this point, or Sabrina Carpenter to impress my children. My children just don't think I'm cool, is what it comes down to.
Would you, if you saw Bill Murray, would you be excited to get a photo with him? Or would you ask him?
I don't think he'd want to take a photo is the problem.
So my buddy got Bill Murray the other day. He's like, dude, who I got a photo with? I was like, who? He's like, Bill Murray. I was like, really? Was he nice? He goes, surprisingly, he was so cool. He's like, I went up to him and said, hey, can I get a photo with you? He goes, yeah, sure. Took a photo. I saw the photo. He's smiling in the photo. I was like, I would be nervous just to ask him. I'd be like,
he is notoriously like private, and he's always been one of those people like you can't get a hold of Bill Murray unless he wants you to get a hold of Bill Murray.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Dax, number 4.
All right, lots of drama going on in Joe Gatto's life. You know him from Impractical Jokers. He has now canceled his tour and has entered inpatient facility in the wake of that whole sexual assault allegations. So here is the latest. Basically, he'll be entering an inpatient facility after multiple women have come forward and accused him of sexual assault and sexual harassment. This is coming from People Magazine, and he did put out a statement saying, having taken time to reflect, I've decided to voluntarily enter an inpatient program to continue working on myself. I just want to thank my friends, fans, and especially my family for all the support. Never more than ever over the last few days. He is a married father of 2 that is going through all of this.
He I guess maybe when the incident happened, but he has separated from his wife. I don't know if he's back with the wife. Is it saying in the story that he's married? Because I thought they got separated years ago, and that's why he left the show back in like 2021. He left the show saying he was like had to kind of prioritize being a present father. So
I believe that they are still technically married, though it could be estranged. But I believe he is still technically married.
Okay.
And so if you remember, there was a former employee who came forward about her negative experience with the comedian. It was like a TikTok user back on March 20th. She goes by the handle Josie B. She accused him of sexually assaulting her when she was 19 in a series of now deleted videos. He did deny that, and then shortly after, a second woman, I guess, came forward and said that she previously worked for Gatto during his time on Impractical Jokers, claimed the comedian exhibited unwanted behavior that she described as sexual harassment. And then so a rep for the comedian did issue a statement in response to these both allegations, saying, I have used poor judgment and as a result have violated the trust of the people I love most. But anyone who knows me at all knows full well I wouldn't assault anyone. So he is working on himself in an ongoing process is what the statement said. And so there was a lot of claims that had come forward by this girl who said that she worked for him when I guess they knew each other when she was 15, but then claims as soon as she turned 18 is when his behavior shifted, becoming very flirtatious. One source claimed that before starting the job just after graduating from college, one of the comedian's previous employees allegedly warned her that she perceived him to be sometimes flirty and handsy. And during the time working for Impractical Jokers star, the source alleged that he occasionally inappropriately grabbed her and asked her for back massages. Again, all that being said, he's claiming that he needs to work on himself, but he would never assault someone. So we'll see how this goes. But yeah, he canceled his upcoming tour. So a lot of shit going on for Joe Gatto at this moment.
Are you an Impractical Jokers fan?
I love that show. I love it so much, Adam. I think it is so funny. Every time it's on, I'm like, all right, I just got to watch a couple minutes of it because they do stuff that just I cringe because I couldn't imagine being in the situation having all these people in public. Like I would just be so embarrassed.
I've met the cast multiple times. One guy, Quinn, Brian Quinn,
Quinn.
no, Q.
Yep.
Is that his name? Yep. Q. He was actually been the nicest to me. Then there's the guy, Sal. What's the other guy? What did you just say? Murr was like the most like weird to me. Like questioned me a lot. It was like very weird. Like it was just awkward. And then this guy, Joey, I ran into this guy years ago. I ran this guy down at the Jersey Shore. I think it was Cape May. I ran into him like I was walking down at like 11 at night. He was walking like down, I think, with a girl. It was maybe his wife at the time. And I was like, oh, Joe, the Practical Joker. He's like, no, I'm not. I was like, no, you are. He's like, no, I'm not. That's not me. I was like, no, you are. And he's like, no, I'm not. And he was like, I was like, all right, dude, we don't play this game. Like, I was like, it's just me and you on an empty street. Like, I was being very kind, and he's being like a total dick. And I'm not saying fuck this guy. Oh, I'm sorry, my French. I'm not saying screw this guy because it sounds like he was going through some personal stuff that he's not in the right mental threshold. He is, he is in obviously treatment for himself. I respect him for speaking up. It's a whole weird. He's like, I mean, I think everything's pretty much out there except for what exactly went down between the two of them. But weird guy.
Yeah, I will say the other day, one of the episodes came on, and it was them at Cane's, and they're in their earpiece, and the person is acting like they work for the restaurant. and they had to kick someone out of the restaurant in front of all the other patrons in this packed Cane's. And it is so funny because one of them had to kick a kid out that was looking for his parents. It was like a lost kid, and they're like, nope, get out. And so you see all the people in the restaurant like, what are you doing kicking out a 9-year-old kid looking for his parents? The other one was a woman who was going into labor. She was super pregnant. He was like, go have your baby outside. You can't do that in the restaurant. I mean, it's so funny.
To me, it's not my cup of tea. I'm actually surprised how big the show is. I'm more of like, which most people
it's not my
probably
fault
aren't.
That you have no sense of humor.
No, we have different senses of humor. I'm more of like a Jackass fan. I'm more like, I want to see a guy like sneak into the zoo where like the monkeys are, and then get raped by a monkey, and see everyone how they react to it. No, that was in that movie with Eric Andre. Did you ever see that one? There was
yes.
That to me, that was tearing up from that and seeing people's react to him getting like physically sexually abused by an ape and them just watching. That to me is more my sense of humor. Impractical Jokers, I was always surprised how big it was. I was like, am I doing comedy wrong? I don't get it, but whatever. It's middle America. Number 3.
Nikki Glaser is shocking a lot of people by being so honest and so open. Number one, about plastic surgery and how much she's kind of changed over the last few years. She posted on Instagram a picture of her on the Tonight Show from 2009, and then from her latest Tonight Show episode. And the stark difference between her then and now, how she's toned up a lot of her body. She is very tan. She's had a nose job since then. And her and Jimmy Fallon actually got into it. Not like a bad thing, like got into surgery. She said, just wait for the facelift. She said that's coming soon in August 2026. I'm going to do it, and I have no problem. And she continued on saying, you've just got to do it subtly. So they go, what is she doing? And you can just go, just meditating more. I'm doing the type of meditation that removes your eyelid skin. and then she said, look, she did say she wanted to do a couple other things, but there's kind of a stigma behind getting face work or investing into your beauty and doing all these procedures. And is maybe just a little bit of sadness to it, but it's kind of like, I like who I am. And while it makes my life better, she said there is a sad fact that people treat you better when you're hotter, and it's just a fact. It's a sad fact of life. But I do like her being honest and saying, screw it. Like, if this is what I want to do, if this is what I want to spend my money on, like, I'm going to get facelifts, or I'm going to get a tummy tuck, or whatever it is. And it's my money. And my body, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, I agree with it. I agree with you. I respect that she's talking about it. I respect that she's being just kind of like kind about it, because I think as a society, we're so easy to shun people for getting plastic surgery. And let's be honest, it's the most popular surgery out there. It really is. And it's not just plastic surgery. Also included Botox and fillers. And I don't want to say majority of women, or not even women, people do it these days. There's nothing wrong with it. I think she owns it. She accepts it, and it makes her feel more confident and better. And I do also agree with her. The better looking you are, the kinder some people might treat you. It's just
there was a funny moment where she said, look, everyone goes, that's so sad. Why don't you just love the way you were born? She goes, well, why did you go to college? Why don't you love the brain you were born with? Why do you pay thousands of dollars to that institution? I was like, it's kind of funny. She also is very pro Ozempic. She goes, hey, if this helps people lose the weight and get that body that they've always wanted, like, fucking go for it.
Go for it. If you own it, it makes you feel good. You look good, feel good. Good for her. Good for her speaking about it. I wish, again, I don't judge. I'm just more curious, where if it's so weird. I can't ask you what you did, but I'm also curious what you did do, just so I could learn for maybe my own personal well-being. I mean, I'm not planning to get a tummy tuck anytime soon, but I'm just like more curious or interested. But again, people are very quick to judge for doing.
I don't judge, even though we have a podcast where we judge the fuck out of these celebrities every day and their stupid decisions.
That part I do. I don't, stupid. Yeah, that part I do. Big difference there. Number.
I get paid to do it. That's the difference.
Yeah. Number 2.
Sydney Sweeney and her fiance have now officially called off the wedding. Her fiance was Jonathan Davino.
Is it official or is this sources? Is this coming from them?
It's sources close to them, but Us Weekly is making it seem like it is officially off. Sydney Sweeney, apparently sources close to her told Us Weekly that they have been facing some major issues in their relationship. We have been talking about it for a while. All signs are pointed towards they've broken up. Her living in the Beverly Hills hotel for a while. Her deleting a photo of the two of them kissing. I think it was like a New Year's Eve photo where he's got her bent back, and it was like a really cute photo of the two of them kissing, surrounded by a bunch of friends. She deleted that this week. That got a lot of press. And the insider had basically said that Sydney and Jonathan have been having major issues, and basically they're calling off the wedding. There's no plans right now, but they did say they're not throwing in the towel completely. They may not be planning the wedding or throwing that to the side, but it did make it sound that there is still a chance that they stay together, and that it's really tough with her work schedule because she is really focused on work right now and all these productions, and she spends a lot of time promoting all of these movies that she's doing. I got to imagine it's probably hard to be her partner when she does these movies and all the rumors come out that she's dating her co-stars, because that's what's gotten her so much press. That's the part that I think would be difficult.
I personally don't think they have really. This is my guess. I don't know. I don't have insider to this. I'll be for some stuff. I have some inside knowledge. With this one, I don't. But just on what Sydney has done in the media landscape, because I know she's done setup shops before. I've known that she used the conversation about her dating, allegedly, potentially dating a past co-star to kind of use that promotion. Yeah, Glenn Powell, to help promote that movie. So my feeling is she's one of those people that doesn't really speak on this stuff, but she doesn't silence the noise, and it kind of gives us more mystery and curiosity into her, and she plays into it.
Do you think she fans the flames though? Do you think she leans into it? Not that she doesn't talk about it, but she almost leans into it because she knows that dating rumors are what keeps her in the news during downtimes in publicity.
I love that statement. You said fans the flames. I'm not familiar with that term. That was the first time I heard that, but that was very good. I like that. I'm going to take that from you. Yes, I do think
fire bigger.
Yeah, she fans the flames a little bit. So it's good speculation. It makes people more curious of her. It makes people more interested in her. It makes her more available. I think if I'm a studio head, here's what is she, 27 years old, 28 years old, actress who's on top of her game, looks amazing. And now she's almost like gettable. So the allure for her makes her more compelling, more attractive for roles. And I think she's like, listen, I'm strong enough as a person. My relationship is strong enough where you guys could talk about me. I don't need to address it, but it's not going to affect me, who I am personally. So why not call off the wedding? Like, no, we're let them think that we called off the wedding. We just don't have any immediate wedding plans anytime soon because I'm just busy doing stuff. That's my personal opinion. What's going on? I don't think there is an initial breakup of these two.
Yeah.
She's good. She's a pro. And it's funny. She lives in Florida now. And it's funny, Dax. I was listening to an interview with Rob Lowe, and they were saying nobody films in LA anymore because it's so expensive to film at the lots, even at the studios. There's only so much space that nobody films in LA. So these actors, they don't want to live in LA anymore. They were like, I'll live in Florida. I'll fly in to do my job, then I'll fly home. And because they're saving hundreds, millions, some of them, of dollars by not. So nothing is shot in LA because it's just so expensive, which, guys like in Jersey, they're filming tons of things in Jersey right now. And it's one of the smartest things to do. It's exciting for the people in the area to see them shooting the Bruce Springsteen movie and the Bob Dylan movie and other movies here, the Happy Gilmore movie. Like, I don't blame them. It's such like, if I was, I don't get political, but I would make a tax incentive to film in your state because it's just very cool I think there is a little bit of a drawback for people. I mean, it could affect some sort of traffic, plan that day. But overall, I think people get excited if their neighborhood is being used for a movie set or a TV set. Dax, the number one story of the week.
All right, Teresa Giudice back in hot water over money. This is not a unfamiliar spot for her, but now her and her husband Louie owe apparently over $3 million in taxes. This story got huge this week. Basically, according to records from the New Jersey court's website, Giudice is facing a tax lien filed on March 20th, amounting in $303,000, while her husband has a judgment that adds up to $2.5 million. And he's also facing a lien of $163,000 from December of 2024. The cases are currently open according to the court website. While the couple, they got married back in August 2022, they have not publicly talked about their tax issues. I know that numerous outlets have reached out to them to try to get some kind of answer. E reached out. I've seen TMZ reached out. No one yet has an answer or a response about it. But this isn't the first time, obviously, the Bravo stars faced potential legal troubles. If you remember, Giudice faced 11 months in prison back in 2025 for mail, while in bankruptcy fraud. Her then husband, Joe Giudice, which she shares the kids with, he spent over 3 years behind bars for the same crimes before they divorced in 2020. And then he obviously had to leave the country. And then we actually had a really big interview with her about her time behind bars, where she talked about cooking and all this time that she spent there and what it was really like. So if you want a really good interview to hear what prison life was like for Teresa, go back into our archives and listen to it, because it was a fascinating interview of just her prison time. But yeah, this is not good for her.
Not good for her. Dax, I didn't tell you. So I did reach out to see if Teresa would come on the podcast. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a hard no. But also I think, I don't know if it's a definitely.
We'll see. I'll believe it if they show up. I would love to have her on. I'd love to hear her. I hung out with them at BravoCon. What was that, like 2 years ago at this point?
Yeah.
Hung out with the both of them, her and her husband Louie. They were running around kind of doing all kinds of stuff at BravoCon. But I would love to have them on and hear their perspective, their side of, is this a misunderstanding? What's happening? What's truly, because just because it's on a court website doesn't necessarily mean that it is everything that the world wants it to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like people love to hear the drama with rich celebrities. So is this a case of they truly owe money that they can't afford? Or is this a misunderstanding because sometimes this stuff gets filed with the court because that is procedural?
Yeah, I agree with you. This might not be as weird or as bad as we think. It's easy to jump on this based on Teresa's past. But, if I'm sure she has some sort of S Corp or LLC. You pay quarterly taxes. And if you don't, you get your tax at the end of the year. So she might just owe money taxes based on what she brought in. So she might have had a really good year, as long as she has the cash to pay this. And she doesn't necessarily have to pay, and I could be wrong, but I think I am right because I'm not an accountant, but she doesn't have to pay all this right away. She could pay this in estimate, in installments of the money she owes. So it's easy to jump on this. I think we're all just curious of what's going on there.
What's happening, because we've known that she's already had run-ins with the government and landed behind bars. I think that's the last thing that she's going to want to do, is have to, face any type of court issue. I remember they bought that like $3.3 million mansion in New Jersey back in 2021. I did see that there was the U.S. Sun had reported that he was the sole owner of an LLC used to buy the house, and took out a $1 million loan on March 25th, 2024. And that they also said that he was requesting an extension on the loan for an additional $250,000. I don't know if that has something to do with this. So I'd like to get to the bottom of it. I'm waiting to hear from them. What is truly happening here?
I do think, based on her prior arrest or prior conviction, that there could be increased scrutiny from the government regarding her. They're gonna. And I also think, for some reason, I think there's a lot of speculation of, is Louie, her husband, a good guy for Teresa? Is he
Well, that was the whole, like, the last season is like all her co-stars just railing on him the whole time and just
Yeah.
saying that they didn't like him, that he was sleazy, all these kinds of things. And I got to imagine not easy for her to listen to. I think that'd be another question I would ask is like, does it hurt your feelings, number one, for him when he's hearing all these people talking shit on him, or does it hurt her feelings always having to defend this guy?
Yeah, it's not necessarily, again, it's not that uncommon to owe taxes or owe money at the end of the year, because that's just how it is based on what they made and what they wrote off, and if they pay quarterly taxes. I just think there's, again, a lot more scrutiny behind it. So we just have to wait and see. Hopefully, crossing fingers that Teresa will come on the podcast. I'm sure a lot of people are reaching out, but yeah, we'll see if she comes on. We did make the phone call, Dax, so we'll hope she comes on. Thank you guys for watching.
By the way, the other thing that we didn't mention in the rundown, Jeff Bezos' wedding. When is that happening, by the way? When are him and Lauren Sanchez getting married? Because I feel like there's been a lot of talk this week about this $500 million super yacht he has, and the $2 million ring. I feel like there's been a lot more attention. I'm like, am I missing when the date is? I don't know when it's happening.
I'm more curious what a guy like Bezos does for his bachelor party.
I don't think he has a bachelor party at this point. No, I don't think so.
I'm just curious what he would do for his bachelor party. That's got to be kind of unique to see if he would do something like that. If we just go out and have dinner with some friends. Yeah.
I'd also be curious, what does that prenup look like? Because he obviously had a very famous divorce, and half of his fortune diminished. Not that it was a bad thing, because him and Mackenzie obviously were together through his entire trajectory. So she was a part of the wealth building. She was entitled to half of it, but I got to imagine him now going into another marriage, he is going to protect his assets a little differently. So I'd be very curious what that looks like and how much Lauren would be able to walk away with if they don't end up working out.
I think there's a prenup as they date, not just if they get married. I think
she's not entitled to anything for just dating him.
I think from dating him, there's a thing where, listen, you're going to sign an NDA. However, also, I'll pay you. Like, listen, here's what it is. I don't know if it's actual payment, but you could live on my credit card, and I'll take care of all your costs, and you'll be okay. That's how much money he has. I do think there's some sort of NDA going on. Well, definitely an NDA, but some sort of financial arrangement already going on just for dating him. And I think he just wants to trust her and wants to make sure she's taken care of. All right. Thank you guys for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Just hit the like button right below. Leave a comment or something like that. Say a few kind words. I think it helps out the algorithm. Leave us a review on Spotify or Apple, wherever you kind of listen to the podcast. If you haven't done it, please do that. Follow our private Facebook group, Off the Record. It's a fun community. We just BS with each other. I'll kind of fill you in some little bit of inside dirt. This past week, I kind of shared some tea regarding Billie Eilish, which I talked about on Wednesday, and I kind of confirmed it because it actually wound up to be true. Weird story. We talk about it in the private Facebook group, Off the Record. Follow me at Adam Glyn. Follow Dax at Dax Holt. See you guys next week.
Later.
What's up, guys? If you like that video, there's plenty more that came from. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell so we can just feed you all the goodness daily. Hurry up. Come on, let's go.